Hey there, welcome to SharqiDance. My name is Yame, and every week I'm on this channel breaking down basic belly dance movements. Today, we're going to be working on basic arm frames for belly dance. So let's just get up and get started. What is an arm frame? An arm frame is exactly what it sounds like. It's when we have our arms in a still position so that we can literally frame whatever body part we're moving and we want the audience's attention to be focused on. There are literally infinite possibilities for frames that you can use with your arms and infinite ways that you can stylize your arm frames. So for today, we're just going to be going over a couple of basic frames and concepts, and then in your dancing, as you develop your own style, you will be able to modify these frames and stylize them in any way that you would like. As always, let's start with our basic posture with the knees soft, the tailbone down, finding a neutral position for our pelvis, the ribs stacked over the ribs, the head stacked over the shoulders. Our chest is open and our ribs are relaxed. We want to find a neutral position for the shoulders where they're neither rounding forward nor being pulled back together. So find that neutral where the shoulders can be relaxed down away from the ears, and the ribs again are in a neutral position where we're not arching and we're also not curving forward. So we're lifted, we're open, but not arched and pulling the shoulder blades back. So the basic frames that we tend to work with are arms down. So I literally just call this down frame just to describe the position of the arms. We have, again, the shoulders relaxed down away from the ears. The palms are facing the body, and there's a slight flaring out of the elbows. So this is very subtle flaring out of the elbows. We don't have to point the elbows all the way out to the side and create this very angular shape. We just come from the arms being relaxed down into that slight little rotation of the elbows back. And then you can see there's a slight curve through my elbow, and then a slight curve through my wrist, a slight curve through my fingers. As a default, I like to keep my fingers close together except for the thumb. And there's just a slight little curve through the fingers, and I like to call this Barbie hands. So slight flaring out of the elbows, little bit of a curve through the elbows, through the wrists, through each joint of the fingers. There's space between my arm and my body, and space underneath that armpit. So we're not closing in here, we're not just relaxing down, we are creating openness and space. Take a deep breath here. Now, moving on into the next position, I want you to think about keeping those elbows energized. So if you have that slight flaring out of the elbows, there should already be energy there. And I want you to imagine that you're wearing maybe like a bracelet or a cuff around your elbow, and somebody's pulling it up, out and up with a string to bring your arms up to the sides. So that is our transition from arms down to arms out to the sides, and I just call this sides frame just to describe the position of the arms. So nothing fancy as far as the naming here. My shoulders again are down away from the ears, and I have my elbows either pointing a little bit towards the back wall, or I can have my elbows pointing down towards the floor and a little bit of softness through the elbows, but not too much where we're allowing the arms to hang. So keep that length and energy through the arms all the way out the fingertips. There's a soft curve through the wrists, soft curves through the joints of the fingers, and then some kind of curve through the elbows, either pointing back or pointing down. Now, once again, there are so many different ways that we can stylize these frames or these poses. So I could play around with different angles for my hands. I could play around with different angles for my elbows. I could play around with different positions for the palms of my hands. So there's many different things that I can do here. But for now, let's just keep it simple, just energizing those elbows, soft curve throughout the arm, and keeping the shoulders down away from the ears. Now from here, I want you to think about having a bracelet now around your wrists. And now you have somebody pulling a string through that bracelet, energizing the wrists as you bring the arms all the way up into up frame. So here, again, keeping the shoulders down away from the ears so that there's space here between this part of your body and your neck and your face, so that we're not pulling the shoulders up towards the neck and towards our chin, towards our ears. Just slide those shoulders down here. I maintain that soft curve through my elbows, through my wrists, through the joints of my fingers in this position. And again, here we can play around a lot with different angles for the arms, with different positions for the palms. But for now, let's just keep it basic. I have my palms facing each other and the tips of my fingers almost touching or maybe touching. From here, now I'm going to think about energizing the wrists again. Keeping the elbows where they are, I'm going to move the wrists down in front of the chest. And this I just call chest frame. So there's space between my hands and my chest. I'm not touching, but I'm also not really extended way forward. That is also another frame. I call this front frame. But for now, let's just use this one a little bit closer to the chest, just with a little bit of space between the hands and the body. And then we bring it on down, back into down frame. So let's shake it out, relax a little bit. If you were really engaging your muscles properly, even just placing your arms in these frames and holding them there should actually feel like work through your back muscles. So let's just relax for a second and shake everything out. And then we're gonna go back into each frame and talk in a little bit more detail about what else is going on in our bodies. So again, starting in down frame, slight rotation of the elbows, shoulders in a neutral position, chest is open, ribs are relaxed, palms facing the body, there's space between the arms and the body. Now energizing the elbows, we bring the arms up to the sides frame. I'll show you this now from the side because I want you to see that as my hands come up, they're actually coming up a little bit through the diagonal. So I don't have my hands straight out to the sides, moving straight out through the sides here. I have my hands slightly forward, slightly in front of the body, even though from the front, it looks like I'm all the way out to the side. So keep that in mind. And for now, keeping the palms down. So the arms come out through the sides, and we stop here where the hands are a little bit lower than the shoulders. The elbows are rotating slightly back, or pointing a little bit down towards the ground. I'm keeping my shoulders down away from the ears. Now, before we continue and move our arms up into up frame, I want to bring your awareness to these muscles right here, the upper trapezius muscles, to the right and left of your neck. And I want you to make sure that you're not moving through these muscles. Because for a lot of us, we have a tendency when we're lifting our arms up to try to pull them up from our upper trapezius muscles. And this is what I mean when I say keeping the shoulders down away from the ears, is that if we pull from these muscles, we shorten that space between the shoulders and the ears. Another thing that you want to watch for as you work on that stability of your upper trapezius muscles and keeping the shoulders down away from the ears as you lift the arms up is that the shoulder blades behind you need to rotate open as the arms lift up, and then they rotate back as the arms come down. This rotation. I'm going to show you this from the back so that you can see the movement of my shoulder blades. I actually wore this top from D-Web Designs. I will link their store in the description below. I wore it because it's very open in the back and you can really see what my shoulder blades are doing as I go through these movements. So showing you from the back, arms down, energizing the elbows, bringing them out to the sides, letting the shoulder blades rotate open. Now energizing the wrists, my arms are going to come all the way up. I'm keeping my upper trapezius muscles down away from the ears, and my shoulder blades are really rotating open behind me. So I'll just show you from sides to up position a couple more times so that you can really see the way that my shoulder blades are moving. While I'm here, I also want to show you that nice neutral position for your shoulder blades when the arms are out to the sides. So you can imagine that you're hugging a beach ball in front of you so that you're not pulling the shoulder blades together. So this is me pulling the shoulder blades together, and this is me finding that neutral position of the shoulder blades with the tops of my shoulders down away from the ears. Now, once the arms are up, we can keep the hands slightly in front so they don't have to be all the way up. It takes a lot of mobility of the shoulders to get our arms all the way up without it affecting our posture here. So in some styles of belly dance, this position is very common. You will see it in modern Egyptian style a lot. But as a default, especially for somebody just starting out, I would say keep your hands slightly out in front when the arms are up and keeping that soft curve of the elbows. Shoulders down away from the ears. And then here, energizing the wrists, keeping the elbows where they are. Bring the hands down in front of the chest. And then bring the hands all the way down into down frame. Now go ahead and shake everything out. Let's take a deep breath in. And breathe all the way out. These are just 4 very basic, not really stylized arm frames that you can use as you practice your basic movements in the very beginning. Later on, we're going to begin mixing and matching each of these frames to work on some asymmetrical frames. But for now, just work on these and moving between them in this way described here. I know that this was a very detailed explanation, so I didn't want to do any drills with each frame and adding movement to them. But now that you have this video down, you can go back to any of the movement videos that we've done in the past, which so far have included basic hip movements and basic chest movements. And you can try each and every one of those movements in each and every one of those frames whenever you practice. And in future videos, now that I've broken down these frames in so much detail, I will probably include practice in each of the frames or in some of the frames. So that'll be built into future videos already. If you want to learn directly from me with classes that are live but online, you can check out my website, SharqiDance.com. I'll leave that down in the description below. I have lots and lots of classes available, and all of my online classes are live classes with real-time feedback and support. And if you want to support my work without taking my classes, of course, you can comment, you can like, you can subscribe, and you can also send me a tip on buymeacoffee.com. I will post a link for that in the description below as well. And that's it for today. I'll see you next time. Happy dancing. Bye.